Welcome back to Database History. You know, we usually spend our time looking back at, well, history. But today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to jump into the future. We're taking a look at a vision for what's next in the world of databases, specifically the YugabyteDB 2025.1 release. And why are we doing this? Because honestly, it represents a huge shift in how we think about our data. I mean, what if your database wasn't just this passive box you dump data into? What if it was actually an intelligent partner?
This quote right here really nails the whole idea behind this release. For so long, the database game was all about one thing: speed. It was this massive race, right? Who could crank out more transactions per second? Who could scale bigger? But we're kind of hitting a new frontier. It's not about being faster anymore, it's about being smarter. We're talking about building a database that actually gets what your data is and what you're trying to accomplish with it.
All right, so let's dig into what that actually means. The first really big idea here is this concept of smart clusters. Now think about your typical database. It's kind of static, right? You have to constantly tweak it, tune it, configure it. But imagine a database that's an active participant. It's watching, it's learning your workload patterns, it's figuring out the best query paths all by itself, and it's rebalancing resources on the fly. We're talking all of this happening in real time. That's a huge change.
So, you might be asking, how does a database actually get smarter? Well, it really boils down to three key innovations here. First up, we've got AI-assisted query planning. This is where the system uses predictive models to find the absolute most efficient way to get to your data. Then, there's auto-indexing. This is so cool. The database just watches how you're using it and builds the perfect indexes for you automatically. And number three, and this is a big one, is a totally new way to find stuff: semantic search.
Okay, semantic search. This is where things get really interesting, because it completely changes how we interact with our data. You know, traditional search is super literal. If you search for the words fast car, you're only going to get results that have fast car in them. Simple. But semantic search, it understands meaning. It gets context. So you could search for something like high-speed vehicle, and the database is smart enough to go, oh, you probably mean a Ferrari, and shows you that result, even if the words high-speed vehicle are nowhere in the text. This is what lets us build apps that feel way more intuitive, way more, well, human.
And look, all this new intelligence isn't just about making the old stuff run a little better. No way. It's being used to completely expand the definition of what a distributed SQL database can even do. We're talking about pushing it way, way beyond its traditional limits.
And this really shows you what that expanded scope looks like. First, we're seeing native support for streaming data pipelines, which is absolutely critical for any kind of real-time analytics these days. Then you've got support for graph-like relationships right inside SQL. Think about what that means for things like social networks or recommendation engines. It's a game changer. It's also built for edge-first deployments, so you can get your data closer to your users and all those IoT devices out there. And finally, federated clusters. This lets you basically treat a whole bunch of databases spread across different clouds as if they were just one single database. Super powerful stuff.
Now, of course, when your data is suddenly this much more capable and this spread out, you have to ask, how do you protect it? It's a whole new level of complexity. Well, this release tackles that problem head-on. It's got a security model that isn't just built for today's threats, but is actually designed for the threats we're going to face tomorrow.
And what's so important here is how proactive it is. It all starts with a zero-trust architecture. What does that mean? Simple. Nothing and no one is trusted by default. Period. You have to prove who you are every single time. Then, it's looking way into the future with previews of post-quantum encryption. I mean, they're preparing for a time when today's encryption is totally broken. And it's even using its own intelligence to find threats. It has machine learning built in that can automatically spot weird, suspicious behavior in your logs. The database is literally helping to protect itself.
So this all sounds awesome for the ops folks and the security teams, right? But what about the developers? You know, the people who are actually in the trenches building stuff every single day. Well, this is where that whole idea of the database becoming an intelligent partner really comes to life.
So, how exactly does a database become your partner? It's all about smarter tools. For example, there's a new schema design assistant that actually suggests the best way to structure your data for top-tier performance. The command line tool, the CLI, has been beefed up too, giving you real-time feedback as you work. The whole point is to get rid of the friction. Let developers focus on building cool applications, not on wrestling with the database.
And this might just be the most exciting part for developers. Check this out. A natural language query builder. Instead of having to write out some long, complicated SQL statement with a bunch of joins and order by clauses, you can just ask the database a question. in plain English, like show me top 10 slowest queries. This is a huge, huge step toward making data accessible to everyone on a team, not just the SQL experts.
So when you step back and you look at all these pieces together, right? The self-optimizing clusters, the crazy new data capabilities, the future-proof security, the developer-friendly tools, you start to realize something. You're not really looking at a database in the old sense of the word anymore. What you're looking at is a data intelligence engine. It's a system that truly understands your data, that adapts to what you need, and can scale to literally anywhere on the planet.
You know, this really feels like the culmination of the whole YugabyteDB journey. It all started from these incredibly strong distributed roots, right? Taking inspiration from those battle-tested principles of Google Spanner to give us resilience and massive scale. But now, it's building on top of that amazing foundation to reach for something new, this intelligent horizon. It just feels like a really natural and incredibly powerful evolution.
And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty provocative thought to chew on. For decades, we've been the ones telling our databases exactly what to do every step of the way. But what happens when your database starts thinking with you? What kind of new applications can we even dream up when our data infrastructure is an active partner in innovation? That's our look into the future for today on Database History. Until next time, keep those queries sharp and your history distributed.